Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Supporting a Feeling Life. My name is Jonathan.
I'm Yasmin.
Today we wanted to talk about, well, you name it, because you came up with the idea and I thought that is brilliant.
Really taking care of your relationship. And that means really taking care of your partner.
Right. And when Yasmin mentioned that as an idea, I thought, my God, this is so important because so often, again, when we're working with couples, when we're working with people, we see that, that's fun.
That's how we're found.
We see that people get caught up in the distress of what grows in that gap. We spoke recently about what happens when there's not enough energy in a relationship and what to do to look after energy. And one of those things that really looks after a relationship, of course, is learning to recognize what looks after another.
This is really about being aware of your partner, feeling their needs, and it's not about giving and giving and giving and never getting anything back. It's not about being completely selfless and unaware of your own needs, because I'm very conscious of how sometimes these things can be one-sided. It is about actually really feeling and noticing the energy of your partner and attending to what they need. And sometimes that's not a big effort. It's just a simple acknowledgement of where their energy might be at. They might be tired. So you just pause and you're just acknowledging that feeling that's there. And you're caring for it in that moment. You're caring for that person. It can be about words and acknowledging and saying what you see or feel. And it can also be thoughtful. It can be very considerate, anticipating what might be needed. And it can also be about just doing something that it's unasked for.
So what allows this to happen? Well, I know for me, it's really asked me to be aware of when I get in my own way, where I'm caught in my own head, where I'm sort of caught up with things which I think are so important. I remember years ago, Yasmin, you said to me that you sometimes felt like my clients got the better of me. And, well, the better parts of me, you could say.
It's the perils of being therapists.
Yeah, and it is. And what it really showed me was just how in coping with what I was feeling or what was happening in my life can cause a withdrawal, which actually leaves me less available for my partner. So the actual practice of really keeping in consideration and thought, where is my partner at? Where's my wife at? What may she need? What is she feeling? This is something that really helps develop the heart muscle, and it really helps develop the part of us that learns to be less and less self-focused in our intention. I mean, we all know it's kind of easily there in the beginning stages of a relationship, and largely it's because of the feeling of our needs getting met and the sense that this is the one for us and it's all going to be wonderful. But as a relationship continues to grow, consciously recognizing what looks after your partner becomes incredibly important.
This is about being unconditional in your giving so that you are not looking for anything from this. And that can be quite challenging because we're often told just to do for doing's sake, to give because we see it's needed. There can be a really lovely takeaway from this is that you do feel good because you're using your love, your care, your heart. You are actually giving just a moment, because in our lives together, we always feel where each other are at. That's unavoidable. Whether at the end of the day there's energy left over or it's just time to recover, to relax, just looking after your own needs.
So we've got a dog that's harassing us at the moment.
Yeah, welcome to our life. And it is important actually to consciously acknowledge this. It doesn't have to cost you a lot energetically. And sometimes it's just a look or a touch, just reach out, squeeze their hand, or even just make a suggestion. And sometimes that changes the energy. Sometimes, of course, it's one or other partner that might be in more need and more care. And at times it might be both of you. So it's good to just take away the stresses and make suggestions. Let's go to bed early. Let's go sit in the spa, or let's just go sit outside. It's a really important thing just to consider that these are simple things. This doesn't have to be a big thing.
Now, of course, I can imagine some of you are going to be thinking the amount of times you've tried this or done this and it hasn't seemed to work. And partly this is because of where your partner may be at, and they may be in a space where they've just got really stuck in themselves. And the idea of being open to your affection, your care, your thoughtfulness is actually sort of pushing on them more than they can be able to open to. And this is going to require a different kind of communication, and it's going to ask for a lot more kind of attention to be brought to the relationship of where things really are. But what we're talking about is that space, that natural place that you can actually raise your relationship to, where there is a constant sense of a part of you tuning into where your partner is. This is nothing to do with codependence. It's nothing to do with running around trying to please the other person. It is simply realizing that it's so good for you to share of your love and to give of your love and to allow your partner to be that focus of your love. In a way, it exercises our heart and it keeps it healthy. Nothing worse than a heart that tightens up because of the fear of giving that love away to someone else. There is no real way that you can lose out on this exercise, because you get to receive in the giving and you get to receive in the response from your partner.
And even if a partner isn't able to respond to you, you are taking care of your half of the relationship. And that's a really important thing. If you both do it, sometimes it might happen simultaneously, or one partner really responds to what you've done, and at other times it will happen at various points. In relationships, there's often a lot of talk about having date night. And couples do try for that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And that involves, for some people, a bit of effort, making things happen. And it's rewarding. However, what we're talking about is not some occasion. This is about everyday life, everyday moments. And it can be from the usual, I'm making a cup of tea, would you like one? Right through to, put your feet up, I'm going to do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that the recognition that what you are carrying inside of yourself is a thoughtful consideration of how does this affect my partner. It really teaches us on a spiritual level. This is a powerful way of learning how to develop the capacity to feel connected and part of something much bigger than you. We see a lot of people suffering in the world because they feel isolated and they feel disconnected. They don't feel like their energy matters, and they don't feel like who they are matters. Within a relationship, and this can also be practiced with friendships, by the way. It doesn't just have to be an intimate relationship, although there are extra rewards that come with that. But in a friendship, or maybe with family members, when you actually expand yourself and your energy and your heart to include how this may be a beautiful thing for someone else. As I said, without repeating myself, the reward is immense. And that date night idea suddenly just becomes a natural extension of this wonderful feeling that you're carrying, that you want to sort of put an exclamation mark to it, that you want to add something to it that really celebrates it. So it takes the sense of the pressure away. Too often we hear people say that they realize their relationship needs attention, so they go on holiday somewhere.
That's right.
And they spend the first 2 days fighting, because all of these unmet needs, all of these unmet feelings that haven't felt acknowledged, because you've both been far too busy and far too involved in sort of the material and the aspects of your life that are outside of the relationship, suddenly they come to the surface because all you've got is each other. We want to help you prevent that. And one of the ways that you prevent that is by how you carry that sense inside of yourself of love, care, affection, and appreciation for your significant other.
We are always at our best when we care, when we love someone, when we care about them, when we care about how they're feeling, when we care about what's happening to them in their day, when we care about how they're feeling inside, how they're processing what they're feeling, what they're dealing with in their lives, in their work. So it is important to recognize that being caring of your partner, of your relationship, is actually taking care of a very important part of your life. And that's vital. So it can also remind you of caring for yourself, caring for what matters, putting energy into things that give back to you in a really easy way. Because this doesn't have to cost you anything other than your attention, other than really caring for someone that you're living your life with. And why wouldn't you do that? Because the better they are, the better they feel, the greater the relationship you're able to have together.
And it becomes this really beautiful space where when things are tender, where things are difficult, you've created this cushioning environment for it to be held in. So the question to consider is, what stops us from doing this? What prevents us from actually experiencing this? What Yasmin and I are talking about is not some magical recipe. It's not about learning the right languages to use. It's just simply recognizing that our native language, our natural language, is to be loving. Just watch young children together and they connect. They find ways to, when they are not traumatized, when they're in a healing space. So this experience will, for some, ask you to look at what really gets in the way, what stops us from happening. And it may be things which need attention, maybe things that the relationship itself is saying, this needs looking after. But rest assured, it remains one of the most beautiful, simple and powerful things you can do, is to actually give time to each day where you actually really pause and feel, where am I at and where is the one I love at? And what may I do? What can I do that may let them know I'm here and I care?
So some of the things that can get in the way are, of course, stresses. And life stresses can be unavoidable. We all know, going through COVID and lockdown, there have been very many stresses for many, many people. And of course, being together for prolonged periods of time where you might have been out in the world have brought to the surface many things that you just can't ignore. So life stresses can get in the way. However, they are an opportunity to care about the effects that any stress has upon you or the one you love. And that does extend, of course, to your family, to your children, to your friendships, and the animals you spend your life with.
My turn? Okay,
Yeah.
so that doesn't happen very often. So the thing that I really want to encourage you to consider is where is your head? So often I'm seeing couples sitting in front of me and they're in distress for one reason or another, and they've completely forgotten that the very world they live in, that everything they've created, from their family, their home, to the cars they drive, it doesn't matter. Everything has been built on that relationship. So they may have met 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, and they're living in the world that relationship created. Yet so little energy and time is given to the very thing that created that world they live in. And the world they live in suddenly is asking so much more than what they feel the relationship can sustain and hold. The answer is always come back to yourself, come back to what actually is the foundation and what matters. Look at what actually takes care. I know Yasmin and I have been working now for some time on our life, and to build our life in a way that actually means the relationship, our love, our connection comes first. And that's been asking us to let go of things, which has been incredibly healing, because you realize that some of the things, I could have stopped and listened to my wife some years ago and probably saved some of this learning, but it's mine to have. Sorry. But it's meant that when this feeling here, the feeling that you naturally want, this is not some big romantic Hollywood story. This is simply what innately our heart recognizes as the feeling of unity. And you know that that's something that you want to experience. Look at what you do for yourself first, to stay close to that feeling. Look at what you then do as you extend into your next surrounding, which is your home. And if you're in an intimate relationship, look at what you do to take care of it there. If you're in alone and you want to experience this more, look at what you do with those who are close to you and your friends. But of course, what most of us do is we start our day and our mind and our needs and our anxieties pull us way outside of those circles and into the things that we think are more important. And this doesn't work.
So caring for your relationship, again, isn't about ignoring your own needs or the feelings that you have. It's actually realizing that when you start noticing things don't feel good in your relationship, what is it that needs taking care of at that moment? Reconnect with that in yourself, and you'll see where it's needed in your partner. And this will make a difference. Sometimes it seems like the smallest thing, just a look and a smile, or just a look and a word, or reaching out just for a hug, for a cuddle, curling up together. It's about the simple things. They're the most important. Anything you put your energy into external to the relationship needs to come from a place and a foundation of love, support, of nourishment, and then it will grow, it will do really well. But if it's all external, you're going to run out, and your ability to do it together won't feel very strong. So care, really care, and you'll notice that you do care, and when things don't feel good, it doesn't feel very comfortable. So care for this. Again, it's so simple.
So until next time, we hope that this talk has helped you remember and be reminded of what is innately and natural to you, and how this part of your heart knows the feeling of love. We wish you well in your connection to yourself and in your relationship with others. And if you need more support, you know how to reach us. That link will be below in the bio. So until we speak again, stay close to your feelings and close to your heart.
And may you care with great reward.